Hey everyone, Alpha Eagle here again. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well and may God bless you all. Today we will be looking at a video by YouTuber Queer Kiwi titled The Biggest Hypocrite Gothix. This was a long video, so I might divide my coverage into two or more parts. As always, I have nothing against Queer Kiwi. Just to let you know, I sped up the video and I will put a link to the original video in the description. Now, the reason why I titled this video Queer Kiwi Violently Attacks Gothix is because Queer Kiwi equates words with violence. Therefore, by her own logic, her criticism of Gothix was a violent attack. Before we begin, let's look at a screen capture of the video. As you can see, Queer Kiwi has dyed her hair the colors of the gay pride flag. Why would anyone feel the need to advertise their sexuality to the world? Okay, we get it, you're gay. And look at her stuffed animals. I know people today call them plushies, but I call them stuffed animals. Even they have to be gay. By the way, stuffed animals are mainly for children. This is just another way that they indoctrinate children into their ideology. Anyway, let's begin.
Greetings guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video.
Right off the bat, she is lying to her audience, which is probably mostly young people. Non-binary is not a thing. A biological man who falsely claims to be non-binary is just a feminine man. A biological woman who falsely claims to be non-binary is just a masculine woman. She's a tomboy. They just lie to get attention. They want to feel special since nothing else makes them special.
I am going to be watching a video posted by this creator called Gothix. If you don't know who Gothix is, she's conservative. She calls herself unlabeled, but she is conservative.
Respecting one's identity is so important to these people, yet she just called Gothix a conservative when Gothix identifies as unlabeled. So Queer Kiwi clearly is a hypocrite and doesn't respect how others identify.
And she tries to cover all of it up with like a you do you, I don't judge, like you can do what you want, I don't care, but then says like the most hateful shit, you know, like she says the most ignorant stuff and then is like, but I don't actually really care that much. Like,
now she claims that Gothix says ignorant, hateful stuff, but she never backs up her claim. What hateful or ignorant stuff has Gothix said? In this whole video, she never backs up her false claims of hatred and ignorance coming from Gothix. So, not only does she insult Gothix by calling her hateful and ignorant, but she never backs it up.
We haven't made progress in terms of diversity is simply being dishonest. I mean, it is not the 1940s anymore. We know what diversity is. We know what inclusion is.
I mean, yeah, no one's saying that there hasn't been any progress with diversity and representation. No one is saying that. But
actually, a lot of people are saying that we haven't progressed with diversity. Every day I hear people falsely claim that there isn't enough diversity in media or the workplace.
But progress isn't the end goal. Progress is an ongoing thing. You don't progress and then just stop because you're like, it's better than before. You progress until it's good and equal. We're not there yet. We're still in the progress. No one is saying it hasn't progressed. It has. But there's a long way to go.
When will it be good for you people? The thing is, these people are never satisfied. They are insatiable. They will never say, okay, we can stop now. If equality is the goal, what has to happen to achieve it? I want a number, but these people never have a number. If there isn't enough diversity in media, how much is enough? They will never answer that. If they truly want equality in media, then, as they say, media would reflect real life. So, for example, black people only make up 12% of the U.S. population. So if they really want equality, then there would be no more than 12% of black people in media. And we all know that it's way more than that with the numbers. Blacks make up about 12% of the U.S. population. My source for this is in the Visual Capitalist. A link will be in the description. Yet they make up 13% of all actors. My source for that is Zippia, the career expert, and a link for that will also be in the description. So blacks are overrepresented in Hollywood. Now let's look at the white population. Whites make up about 75% of the U.S. population. My source is the U.S. Census. A link will be in the description. Yet they only make up 57% of actors. My source, again, is Zippia, the career expert. A link is also in the description. So whites are actually underrepresented in Hollywood. Well, this whole claim that black people lack representation in media is a lie. And if these people truly wanted equal representation in Hollywood, they would be asking for more white representation, since I've just proven that white actors are underrepresented.
I'm going to be discussing how the political left has weaponized these terms in order to further a political agenda. One of the first tactics that they use to do this is by controlling language. Now, the other tactic that they'll use is by promoting collectivism. This idea that me as a black person share the same experiences as this other random black person. Oftentimes you might hear the phrase we when someone is talking about their experience as someone in the LGBT or someone that's black. They have this sense of I am connected with someone else on the principles of skin color or gender or sexuality.
Well, yeah, we have a major thing in common that affects our lives based off of the society that we live in. So like when I say we, referring to the queer community, we face oppression because we do, and we all experience.
I think that gay people experience oppression. Can you back up this claim? No, she can't. In fact, she contradicts herself later. I can prove that they're not oppressed. Gay people are in fact celebrated in our society. We dedicate an entire month to celebrating gay people. A group who is celebrated cannot be oppressed. If you want to be oppressed, you can always go to a Muslim country and see how they treat gay people there.
And we all experience that differently. And a lot of the time we isn't necessarily encapsulating everyone, but it is like overall, like a lot of people are included in like a large amount of the conversation. Like I personally never had to come out to my family. That's not something I ever did. However, a majority of queer people do. And a lot of queer people when talking about coming out will be like, when we come out, when we as queer people come out, and I don't take offense to that. I am an outlier in that situation. And I understand the like struggle and the fear that must come with that because like, although I'm not someone who's ever faced much discrimination within my friends or family or workspace or school, that's not something I've ever had to deal with. And it's the same.
See, she even admits that she's not oppressed as a gay person, contradicting what she said earlier. If you're an outlier and haven't been oppressed as a gay person, how are you certain that the majority of gay people are oppressed? I show facts. You do not.
And it's the same with like, you know, other forms of oppression. Like as women, I know that we as women are treated unequally within society. And I know that like, even if I'm not actively aware of that, and I know there are a lot of women who like to say, we aren't discriminated against. We have the same opportunities. We have all the same stuff. There's no sexism that exists, no misogyny that exists. And they can deny that all they like, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they have experienced misogyny that is
I love this. She has women who tell her that they are not oppressed, yet she ignores them and tells them that they are wrong. I think they would know if they are oppressed more than you. What happened to listen and believe women? On the left are hypocrites. They want people to listen to women, but when it comes to women who say that they are not oppressed, they try to shut them down and censor them.
That they have experienced being talked over or being interrupted or being made to feel smaller, but some people don't acknowledge it or realize that it's happening because of how normal it is.
If being talked over, being interrupted, or being made to feel smaller is being oppressed, then I'm oppressed. Because women talk over me, interrupt me, and try to make me feel smaller all the time. I mean, heck, if that is the standard, then everyone in the world is oppressed. Since I'm sure that everyone's been talked over, interrupted, or made to feel small. I mean, seriously, who has not experienced this? Congratulations, you're oppressed. This girl is spewing complete nonsense.
So I can say we have experienced this, and we experience this thing as a collective. Whether people want to acknowledge that or not is up to them. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it is true.
No, it's not true. I just proved it's not true.
They'll use is by encouraging victimization. They'll victimize people to get them to believe they actually need this thing. They do this by trying to convince everyone that words equal violence. Consider what the typical response would be if a white person were to call a black person the N-word. Some people would react very aggressively, and some other times it could lead to physical assault, which both are bad. Not me though. I don't react that way because I'm able to make that separation and say, that is a word, and I'm still okay. I have things to do. Goodbye.
Good for you. I'm glad that words don't affect you like that, but it's this thing of like, you have to understand the intention behind the word, right? People are saying that because they know it's a powerful word and that it hurts, and they know that it's bad to say and what the roots are. So like, you can brush it off and say it doesn't impact you. You don't have to like yell at people or get into physical altercations with people to acknowledge that a word is like heavy and holds a lot of weight, you know? Like a lot of the time when people say the N-word in like a casual setting or whatever, and they're informed like, hey, don't say that, it has this weight. It's not out of anger, it's out of like lack of education.
So she goes around lecturing people on what words to say at parties and stuff. She seems to be a lot of fun. Seriously, who goes around in real life telling people they shouldn't use certain words? She mentioned the N word. Has she ever told a black person to not say the N word? Does she have a problem with the N word being used in movies or in music? I guarantee that she has a double standard regarding who can use the N word and who cannot.
Until they say it again, and then it's like, okay, well, you know what this word means, you know why you shouldn't say it, and that is because it holds a lot of like hatred and awful, awful, heavy stuff. And if you choose to say it, you're choosing to say that you don't care about that, and you don't care about what this word actually means and why it is such a harmful word. And then people get upset because knowing that and being told why you shouldn't say it, saying it means you don't care, and it means you don't care about the weight of that thing.
By the way, no, I don't care if words are heavy or not.
So I think people are rightfully allowed to get upset about it. You don't have to be like personally offended, but you can make a judgment on a person who says it. And if they don't want to listen to you and stop saying it, that's on them. But you are allowed to be hurt by that.
No, it's not on the person who says the so-called offensive word. If you're offended by a word, that's on you. And the reason it's on you is because you choose to be offended by it. We are not born being offended by words. It's something we learn. So if you're offended, it's because you were taught to be offended. You can always choose not to be offended.
Here's another example, the gender identity community. If I were to say that man is still a man despite all of these surgeries or hormones he takes, or there is no such thing as non-binary, you're either a man or a woman, some people would say that's harmful. What you're saying is going to cause harm. They're trying to make words the equivalent to actual literal violence.
What? Yeah, it is harmful, and it is doing harm, and words can be as bad as physical violence. What are you on?
Good question. What are you on? Do you really think that words are violence? And if so, like I said earlier, your criticism of Gothix is violence. You mislabeled her as a conservative, you called her ignorant, you called her hateful, and you just accused her of using drugs. So using your own logic, how isn't your words violence?
It is really dangerous to say that words cannot be as harmful as physical violence, and it sets people up to be put in really terrible positions and to be very hurt. There are a multitude of reasons for this, alright? I could go into this and talk about this alone for so long. Hear me out here, alright? If we are taught that words cannot do physical damage, then you are teaching people to put up with so much emotional abuse and damage. Being invalidated in your gender like that, if you are a like trans woman and you have figured out that identity and you feel confident and comfortable presenting as a woman and being a woman and telling people you're a woman after spending years of battling that within yourself, and you finally, you know, decide that you're ready to share that, ready to live as your authentic self, and someone comes in and invalidates that and is like, no, you're a man. No, you're a man. That's going to fucking hurt. That is going to hurt. And
again, by her logic, if you tell someone the truth, like that a biological man is a biological man, you are hurting them on an emotional level equal to physical violence.
And you might not be physically hurting them. However, a lot of trans people are physically hurting themselves, and that is because of words. And you can be like, you can be stronger. I can ignore the N-word being said to me, so then why can't you do that? Everyone has a different emotional threshold. Everybody experiences life differently and feels things differently. And if you have spent a long time trying to overcome some internal turmoil and you get beaten down for it, it's gonna fucking hurt because they have already spent time in their heads telling themselves this and they finally overcome it. And then to be told it, it's very, very damaging.
What happened to this world? So she is essentially telling people to lie to people, and if you don't lie, you are physically hurting them. I'm a Christian. I believe that lying is a sin. So you just told me that I have to go against my own religion in order to not hurt someone's emotion, which you equate to physical violence. Sorry, I can't do that. I can't sin just to spare the feelings of people who have mental issues. Again, if they have mental issues and can't handle facts, then it's not on me, that's on them. It's up to them to grow thicker skin and deal with the truth and facts that hurt their feelings. So that's about it for this video. I might be making a part 2 soon. Anyway, I'm Alpha Eagle. God bless you for watching. God bless America, and I pray that Queer Kiwi really thinks about her worldview, quits violently attacking Gothix, and quits lying about what they call gender and diversity, and quit demanding that others lie, and, well, it's just easier to say I'm praying for her.